welcome to my channel. This week I have an amazing treat for you. I'm going to teach you how to make amazing bread rolls. They're relatively inexpensive to make, and this the recipe for this particular dough, I love it because it's very versatile. Today I'm going to show you how to do a sweet and a savory using the same dough. So to begin, we're going to start with 700 grams of flour. Bread flour is amazing. If you don't have it, just use all-purpose. They're still going to come out amazing. So into our flour, we are going to add 3 tablespoons of sugar, and we are going to add 2 teaspoons of salt, and then I like to give that a good mix just so that the salt is distributed, did I say that right? Distributed amongst the flour evenly. That way the yeast doesn't come in direct contact. Some people say it kills the yeast, some people don't. Honestly, they look dead from the get-go, so I couldn't tell you, but better safe than sorry. So we're gonna add in 20 grams of active yeast. And we're gonna give that a good swirl before we put in our wet ingredients. That way it's all evenly spaced and all that good stuff, so we don't have like all the yeast hanging out in one corner. And then the center, I'm gonna make a hole, like a well. We are going to make a well in the center of our bowl, and that's where we're gonna drop in all of our wet ingredients. Okay, and then to this, in our little well we just created, we are gonna add 500 milliliters of buttermilk. Now, if you don't have buttermilk, feel free to use regular milk. I just prefer the buttermilk because I find that like the tang brings a little extra some. We are gonna add 2 teaspoons of baking soda. And since I forgot to put it in with all the other dry ingredients, I'm kind of putting it around the edge of the bowl so that I can kind of mix it into the dry ingredients before mixing everything together. I hope that makes sense. So to that, we are gonna add 3 large eggs. And if you're a boss and you can crack straight in and you have no fear of eggshells, go for it. But I'm blonde, so let's be honest. We need to be careful with this stuff. So we're gonna do 3. I love the natural like farm to table eggs because the yolks are so much prettier. They're like that deep gold color. I just feel like they're super nutritious, you know, because they have that added color. I like the color that it brings to my bakes and stuff as well. So as I thought, I dropped an eggshell in there. So I'm going to show you guys a really cool way to get the eggshell out. Oops. So I'm going to dump, because of course it sunk to the bottom. So we want to get the bulk of the egg out. And then when you're trying, you know how when you're trying to get an eggshell out of the egg and it like runs away from you, like you'll put your finger right where it is and then it goes over there. If you use the eggshell, you can scoop it right out. I guess because it knows it's an eggshell, it doesn't run away. I have no idea. But it's a very easy way to get your eggshell out without fighting. And I'm gonna put that last little bit of egg in there. So now what I'm gonna do is obviously very clean hands. I go and I mush the eggs and the buttermilk together because I want to combine those. This is fun. You get to get your hands all messy. Okay, so I have it like, see guys, it's I've just combined it, broke the egg yolks up, all that good stuff. And then I am going to add to this 2 sticks of room temperature butter. Why? Because everything is better with butter. And so we're gonna start incorporating that. And there's just something about making bread, right? I mean, I love making bread for the people I care about, you know, friends, family, clients, because it is a little bit of work. You know, I think I mentioned that in my conchas video, but it's like you're putting part of you in it. And I absolutely love that. Okay, so it should look like this. A sloppy mess. And then to that, we are gonna add 100 grams of Crisco. And the reason I'm using Crisco is because today I'm at my bestie's house and I'm using her kitchen, and she doesn't eat pork. So I'm using the Crisco so she can enjoy some of these yummy treats as well. But personally, I prefer lard. It just brings an extra bounce. Kind of like the lard on us, right? It gives us a little extra bounce. But I just prefer it. But Crisco will work as well. It's still basically the same concept. All right, so now that we have our sludge all ready to go, we are gonna cover this and leave it for about 45 minutes. See you in a bit, guys. Bye. Hey guys, so it's been about 45 minutes and I was so funny. I pulled it out of the oven in this big old dome. I was like all impressed. I thought my dough had risen that much. Yeah, no. But that's okay, because remember, we only put in about half the flour, so you wouldn't expect it to be as big as it's gonna get. So we're gonna open this bad boy up. Okay, so see how it's kind of like foamy and whatnot? So we are going to this, we're gonna add between 300 to 500 grams of flour. You wanna add the flour until the dough is not sticking to your hands anymore. Okay, so you want a workable dough. And this is kind of something, guys, that you're just gonna get better at every time you do. There is definitely a feel for bread. My dad was a baker, one of the most amazing bread makers I know. And like anything else, guys, the more you try, the more you practice, the better it's gonna get. So if the first time you make bread, it's not the most wonderful thing in the world, just keep trying. You know, you'll make a couple mistakes, but that's how we learn, right? Wasn't it Thomas Edison that says, I didn't fail 1,000 times, I learned 1,000 times how not to do it? So I'm gonna add some more flour. And like I said, I'm doing a really big batch of dough because I want to do 2 different kinds. Almost there. Now, if you don't have the upper body strength, like if kneading for whatever, maybe you have a medical concern that it's really hard for you to do the kneading, you actually can get away with not kneading as much if you let it rise multiple times, because then the yeast is doing the work for you. So just a little tip if you are unable for whatever reason to knead. So now it's all kind of come together. So I'm going to dump all of this goodness on this beautiful workstation that I have today to work on. And then we're just going to incorporate all of this in there. So at this point, your dough is all combined. But if you notice, it's going to break apart very, very easily. We need to let it rise one more time for about 45 minutes. Oh, this is a beautiful dough. That's how you know it's good dough. It should sound like a fat man's belly. At least that's what my mama said. All right. And another little trick, guys, as you know, I'm here at my friend's house, as I said, and her oven does not have that proofing option. So a quick trip or a quick tip, you can heat up the oven to about 100 to 200 degrees, turn it off, wait a couple minutes, and put your bread dough in there, and it will work just like a proofer. They've been making bread as long as man has been alive, and they didn't always have proofers back in the day, and their bread came out amazing. So we can do it too, guys. There's just something awesome about kneading dough. Like, I feel like you're putting part of yourself into it. You know, it's just something that says, I love you. All right. Okay, so now that we have this dough all together, we are going to put a little bit of butter or oil or whatever, something slick. Line this up because we don't want our dough to stick to the bowl. Okay, and so I'm just gonna fold it under itself to make like this cool little ball. Plop them in there, cover them up, put them in the oven, and I'll see you guys in 45 minutes. Bye. Hey guys, so it's been 45 minutes. Let's take a peeky boo. Ooh, isn't she beautiful? Oh, it's beautiful. So let's take this off. We're gonna dump this guy on our clean working surface. Or dirty, you know, it's up to you. It's your bread. I'm not eating it, but I recommend a clean work surface. Get all this goodiness. And then we're just gonna work the dough a little bit. Oh, it's so different. Just that second rise gives it just a completely different texture. It's awesome. So we are going to take this beautiful lump, not our lady lump, our beautiful lump, and I'm going to divide it into two. Because remember, I said we're going to do a sweet and a savory. Okay. So we're going to take this half, and I am going to cut it into 8 sections for our tin. And so the way I do it, the easiest way, because, you know, I'm blonde, I got to do the easy ways. So first you cut it in half, because you can more or less see the middle. And then you cut it in half again. And then you have to cut it in half again. I know, spoiler alert. So, and then that way you end up with more or less the same size. Now you can do as big as you want or as small as you want. That's entirely up to you. Okie dokie. So then get your rolling pin. So set these guys aside. And so the first one we're going to do is a savory. And this is sun-dried tomatoes and cream cheese. I just put it in a food processor and blended the bejesus out of it, and it creates like this beautiful paste. So what we're going to do is going to roll these out into a circle. Oops, I forgot. We got to spray our tin. You don't spray your tin, and guess what ain't coming out for dinner? Okay. Perfect. Okay. So we're going to roll it out into a circle. Then take some of our amazing I love sun-dried tomatoes, right? There's just something that sun does to make them extra amazing. And then I have here some grated mozzarella cheese. I do like to grate my own like block of cheese. The processed shredded cheese, they put a powdery coating on it so that the cheese doesn't all stick to itself in shipping, but it makes it so it just doesn't melt the same in food. So today I'm using fresh grated mozzarella. And then you're gonna, let me move these out of the way so you guys can see. So I'm just gonna take it and roll it and roll it and mark it with a B. Just kidding. And then I'm going to turn it around on itself. So it's going to create like a little snail. And then we're going to put that little snail right there. And then we're going to do the same thing to all 8 of these. So I'll do it a couple of times so you guys can get the gist. Very simple. But the flavor of these guys are just like next level. You'll be like, oh, did you get this at Panera? No, boo, I made it, right? That's what we're going to tell our friends. All right, so just a little bit of cheese. Roll this bad boy up. Twist it around on itself so it creates that little snail. And when I'm loading my tin, I usually go like opposites, opposites, opposites so that they're evenly spaced. All right, wrap this boy around. Ooh. You know what, guys? I don't think we're going to get 8. I think we're going to have to do 6. So just kidding. We're going to do 6 rolls for this tray. And when you're baking, guys, just roll with it. Like, don't overthink it. Sometimes we psych ourselves out from trying new things, you know. We're our worst enemy sometimes. So you can do it. All right. And then we're going to take our snippety snips and we're going to cut a couple of lines so we can make it pretty. So I'm just cutting slices. And as it rises, it's going to open up and they're so beautiful and yummy and delicious and amazing. Boom, boom, boom. And do your own design, guys. There's so many different patterns. I know that there's a lot of amazing YouTube videos where they teach you different scoring and how the end is going to look, and they're really cool. So then we're going to cover this tin up, and I will show you our next roll we're going to do. Okay, just cover him up. Remember, yeast is shy, so make sure you cover it up with a towel. And I'm actually going to put this in the oven so that it will rise quicker. And we will move on to the next one. So this one, we are going to use a muffin tin or a cupcake pan, or, you know my motto, use what you get. So we're going to put our nonstick spray. You can do butter, oil, pretty much any kind of, because dough, when it's cooked, it like crisps up. So it's not like a cake where you would have to like flour it or anything, because it's bread dough. So, okay. So with these extra 2, because I guess I went gung-ho on my dough today, I am going to show you the first bread roll I ever learned how to make. So one my daddy taught me. So you section out your dough balls, and then you're going to break it into 3 pieces, more or less the same size. Then you take that bread dough and you're going to roll it into a little ball like that and drop it. And then you're going to put 3 balls per spot. And what's really cool is once these rise and bake up, when you serve them, you can break them because the balls will break. They're united together when it bakes, like they're fused together, but they rip apart right at those divisions. And so it's like really cool. It's nice to eat your dinner with, the way they pull apart. And it looks like I'm going to get about 6 rolls of this kind. So then The next one we're gonna do is cookie butter and pecan rolls. Oh, I discovered this. I made this recipe up all out of my own noggin, and it is so good. And if you haven't had cookie butter, I highly recommend that you buy it and try it. Like Nutella can't hold a candle to cookie butter. Cookie butter is so good, but Nutella is a lot healthier probably than cookie butter. It's literally made from crumbled up cookies, and it's like a peanut butter consistency, and it has like all the yummy spices like cinnamon, cloves, ginger, nutmeg, all those warm spices that, you know, you make those breads and it just reminds you of home, right? Well, at least for me. Okay, so now we're gonna do the amazing sweet ones. So we're gonna cut these in half because I'm gonna fill up these guys, and then we're gonna use this rectangle tray. I'm trying to show you guys you can use any pan or tray you got. Use what you got. I'm gonna put a little more. And from this, I'm gonna make the 6, and then we'll put 8 in this guy. So I'm gonna divide it the same way I did the last, so make like a log. And then you're gonna cut it in half. Only this time, wait for it, guys, we're gonna cut it into 3. So we don't wanna cut it in half again because I can do math, I'm not wearing shoes. So we're gonna cut it into thirds, like so. Perfect. And to make these, we're gonna roll them out just like we did the tomato and cheese ones. But we're gonna spread it with cookie butter and nuts. And you can make it without nuts. I mean, that's never fun, right? Nuts always are the life of the party, but if you don't want nuts, you don't have to put nuts. My favorite is pecans. I put it on like almost everything for sweet desserts and stuff. It just has such a rich flavor. Okay, so we're gonna do a circle-ish shape. Ooh, cookie butter. Flip it around on itself. They come out so cute. I know they kind of look like mini turds right now, but when they rise and they bake, I promise you, they look really yummy. A long time ago, my dad had this friend. His name was Tom, God rest his soul. And he told me as a young kid, I was probably like in, what grade was I in? Like 7th grade, I think. And we're sitting at his dinner room table, and he says, Donna, let me tell you the secret of life. He says, if someone asks you a question, that obviously means they don't know the answer. So if you don't know the answer, just make something up. They're not going to know any different. So he set me on my path to being a hustler. No, I'm kidding. But it cracked me up, you know, and he was a very wealthy businessman. I actually met Sam Walton, the owner of Walmart, one time at his dining room table because they were buddies or whatever. God rest his soul. All right. So now we're going to do in the tray, and I'm going to do the exact same thing, guys. The only difference is I'm going to set them next to each other instead of in trays. Just showing you, you can use any kind of tin or tray to make bread rolls. Okay, and we're going to do, so cut in half, cut in half, cut in half, cut in half. What do we do next? Cut in half. Just keep cutting. I'm actually going to roll these out a little bigger so that we can get a longer strand to twist around on itself. I love to bake for the holidays. You know, I love giving out gifts that are food. I just love feeding people. Because it's like from your home to theirs, you know. Retail, most of us really don't need anything. You know, we're consumer driven, you know, country, but we don't really need stuff. But when you bake somebody something, to me, that's just a little extra love. Okay. And so see how I made this one longer? That way it's going to enable me to wrap it farther and pinch at the end because like this guy keeps coming undone. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to elongate it by rolling it. And then it'll give me more of a wrap around. Pinch that guy up. Now stay, boo. Stop breaking apart on me. Keep it together. Keep it together, Mr. Bread Roll. And I think these last few, I'm going to do them without the nuts, just so I can have a variety. I know there's people, I have friends that have nut allergies. And so I'll make, well, I probably shouldn't give these to anybody with nut allergies, huh? Because I'm rolling them on the same counter. Just kidding. I'm going to do it because I want to see how they taste without the nuts. But you absolutely could do it if you have someone, you know, I would just recommend making sure you wipe down your surface really good. You don't want there to be any contact with nuts because there are different levels of allergic reactions. You're like, oh, what did Donna give you for Christmas? Oh, she gave me some bread rolls, but she should have gave me an EpiPen. You know, I don't want those kind of comments. I'm so excited for you guys to see these. They look super, super cute. Okay. If I can keep them together. Oh, and these guys, I forgot I need to snip them. Because you want to snip them as soon as you roll them, because as they rise, they'll open up. And if you snip them once they're fully risen, you'll let all the wonderful air that the yeast produce for you. So you want to, so much fun. I always tell people, have fun with what you're doing, you know? There we go. Look at these beauties. A couple of them are not wanting to stay closed, but you know what? Let them be them, I guess. It's boom, boom, boom. Okay, so we're going to cover this guy. We're going to let him rise for about 30 to 45 minutes. They actually, every time you leave them to rise through the stages of bread making, every time the dough rises, it rises quicker and bigger than your previous rise. Be careful though, you don't want to do it too many times because the yeast only can do so much and you don't want it to run out of power. So let's cover these up and I will see y'all in about 30 minutes. Bye. Hey guys, so it's been about 40 minutes. And now we are going to cover these beauties with an egg wash. And I just put a little bit of heavy whipping cream with my egg. And that's what's going to give it that polished, professional look. They'll be like all shiny and yummy. Oops. And then I'm just going to lightly dust them with a pastry brush. You want to be careful because you don't want to poke at it and let the air out. So you want to just very gently. And while you're doing this, I'm preheating my oven to 350 degrees. Oh, this is gonna be so good. Oh, I know who's gonna get some loving tonight. Because these are gonna be good. All right. See, I'm just lightly, ever so lightly. And try not to drip, you know, the egg wash on your pan too much because it will cook. Aren't these so beautiful? And we're just gonna bake them for about 20 to 25 minutes. You just wanna bake them until they're nice and golden brown. All right. So then we're gonna put these guys to bake at 350 and I'll see you in 25.